or ask. And the government's running out of money. Why in the world, if you're trying to avoid a government shutdown, would you ask for $1.5 trillion when the government's already out of money? I think it's going to be weeks to a couple months. It's going to be a long one because the sides are so far apart. The left is asking for ridiculous demands. It's like, yeah, give these tax credits to a bunch of illegals coming across the border that actually haven't paid taxes. How would you give a tax credit to somebody who doesn't pay taxes? I don't understand. But this is the kind of junk that they're asking for.
Right.
So here's where Trump is an absolute genius. The left is who shut down the government, not Trump, right? Because they were asking for ridiculous things. So they're going to blame Trump. But here's where you and I both know it's like finding a unicorn. It's like almost impossible if you want to fire a lifetime federal employee. Like it just doesn't happen, right? They go from administration to administration to administration. They just keep having their jobs, even if they're a horrible worker. It's like they still get to keep their job, right? So Trump's been trying to shrink the government, but you can't fire a federal employee like that. So, I mean, it's a pretty good gig, I suppose. But here's where during a government shutdown, that rule doesn't apply. During a government shutdown, you can actually fire without recourse and you don't have to hire them back. Right? So here's where Trump got the left to basically shut down the government. And he's like, whoa, these Doge cuts that we were working on. I was like, we can actually start to trim some of these fat administrative agencies, right?
Now.
Yeah. So now he can get done what he wanted to get done. And he just used the left's words against them, right? Words have power. Words have meaning, right? And so we all know that. We can change the atmosphere around us by our words, right? So Trump just used their words against him, and I think it's genius. But what's going to happen 30 days from now? 30 days from now, I mean, starting tomorrow, according to the press secretary, we're going to start the furloughs. Upwards of 750,000 federal employees are going to be furloughed. Wow. 750,000. Now, that doesn't mean they lose their jobs. It just means they're not being paid until the government reopens. And then when it reopens, they get all that back pay, right? So it's inconvenient, right? But what also is going to happen is I think there's going to be a lot of firings, a lot of trimming of agencies during this time. Estimates are upwards of 75,000 people will probably lose federal jobs during this shutdown. So what is that going to do to the unemployment numbers 30 days from now when they're reported? Unemployment's going to skyrocket. It's not going to be a good number. I can almost guarantee, right? So when that happens, then the Fed is going to meet. What are they going to do? They're going to see the high unemployment numbers. They're going to lower interest rates again. Gold and silver go up a lot when you lower interest rates. The stock market will probably go up when you lower interest rates. Cryptocurrency will go up when you lower interest rates, but silver and gold really go up when you lower interest rates. It's very sensitive to that. So here's where we've got the head of TD Securities, Toronto Dominion Bank, TD Ameritrade, that company, saying did a report last week that LBMA in London is 4 months away from depleting their free float silver. So what's free float silver? That's the silver that's available for people to buy. Like we store our silver basically at the Texas Precious Metals Depository for all of our clients, right? So if you have metals stored there, that's yours. It's nobody else's. That's not free float. It's not available. Free float would be stuff that's stored at a depository that's not owned by somebody that's ready for somebody to purchase. That's what London runs out of, depletes its free float silver in 4 months. Like, what else happens in 4 months? It's basically the end of January, the first week in February, Trump's executive order, the democratization of alternative assets and 401ks becomes effective, which means you can buy precious metals, cryptocurrency, and real estate in your 401ks. So now you've got $12 trillion of captive money that's going to be extra potential demand for gold and silver. And you've got London running out. This is like the culmination of a perfect storm. Added to that, we're going to surpass the all-time high where there's now going to be no more technical resistance points. It's like what else could you ask for in an investment? Right? Completely minimizing your risk and maximizing your return. Now, when I say that, we're kind of told people, and I've been getting a ton of calls. It's like, how do we prepare for our 401ks, being able to go into gold and silver in February? It's like, you know what? You don't have to wait. The big if, and this has always been the rule. I just didn't know that people didn't really know it. If you're working for a company and you have a 401k there, pretty much general knowledge is, well, I can't get rid of it. I unless I quit or retire. Not true if you're 59 and a half or older. If you're 59 and a half or older and you still continue to work there, you can do an in-service rollover, meaning you could take all of your existing balance of your 401k. Say you had 500,000 in there, is your retirement. You could roll it all into a traditional IRA, take your balance to zero. You could go into physical metals. Now you don't have to wait until February, and you still keep your 401k and make your contributions every paycheck that you get, right? But you're just adding the contributions to a zero balance because you rolled all of it out or a portion of it out to go into physical precious metals. You can do that now if you're over 59 and a half. If you're under 59 and a half, sorry, you're out of luck. I mean, you can't, right? But until February, then it becomes allowable. So as I look at some of these things, and we try to come up with every strategy humanly possible to protect and preserve and to grow and to thrive, this to me is a big one. If you're over 59 and a half and have a 401k, roll it over now to get into physical metals, because like everything we've talked about, we've got the impacts of the government shutdown. We've got silver approaching its all-time high, no more technical resistance. We've got LBMA running out in 4 months. What else? What else do you need, right? More wars and rumors of wars? Well, we've got that. More capital constraints on banks.
Right.
I mean, you talked about it.
That's one of the reasons why I brought up in the beginning all of the things that are starting to default. 2008 levels. So we know what happened. A lot of banks failed.
Yes.
Highest bank failure rates ever. Unless we go all the way back to savings and loan crisis back in the 70s and 80s. But what are your thoughts on this? You're very insightful in this. What you think we're going to see a lot of bank failures coming up?
Yeah, I do. So big banks because of their short positions, smaller banks because of delinquency, right? So